We are still going to continue reviewing the election that took place yesterday, and of course keep track of the collation exercise that is also taking place today. And I have with me in the studio Dr. Dokun Adedeji. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for inviting me.
Yes. All right, so we are going to be reviewing, but before we start up the conversation, INEC had announced 3-hour recess, and the collation is the exercise is to continue by 5 p.m. But so far, results from 16 local governments have been presented at the Commission's headquarters in Benin City, and according to the results from the 16 local governments announced by INEC, Opegbeluhu secured over 244,549 votes, while Asiu Godalo of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) got over 195,954 votes. And then we have Olumide Akpata, who has of the Labour Party, who has over 13,348 votes. Of course, as we said earlier, the results are not complete yet. The Commission will still be back by 5 p.m. and more results will be coming from the remaining local government, and then the final results will be announced much later afterwards. All right, so quickly before we just go deep, Dr. Dokun, what do you have to say about this? I mean, it's quite obvious that the APC is leading in a state where the incumbent governor is a PDP member.
But really, is there any difference between the parties? He was in APC,
yes,
because we were the PDP, and so it's like a game of roulette. One here to, I always think the politics of Nigeria is like the football team. You leave Barcelona, you go to Real Madrid, and then the only thing you do is change your jersey. And that's what's happening in our politics. I said it yesterday here. We don't have political parties. Honestly, we just have political contraptions and that are used as SPV for people just to gain power, and that's it. I'm not surprised. But anyway, we still have 2 local governments to go.
Yes.
Edo State has 18 LPAs.
Yes, and we've declared 16.
But for me, it worries me that we keep doing the same thing all over and expecting different results. That's synonymous with insanity. We can't be doing this. How can we have elections in one state and we're still struggling at 5 p.m. to know who the leader is, who won the election? And we are so happy, Nigeria, is this democracy? We're just joking around. All
right, Dr. Dokun, so quickly I'll get back to you, but let's just quickly go on this commercial break, and then when we return, we'll still have more discussions on this. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
world needs mums. With a splash of golden Terra oil, a mom can transform a frown into a smile. Change no thanks into yes please. Resolve family feuds without blowing a whistle. Providing tasty family meals is all that matters. Where there are moms, there is love. Golden Terra oil, for pure love.
TerraCube, unwrap joy, unleash taste.
Imagine lovely meals you can cook with these ingredients. You spend heavily, but no guarantee of a tasty meal. Not making a right choice of seasoning cube can ruin your meal, money, and confidence. For a tasty meal, do not compromise. Choose Gold.
Use Terra Gold for the rich, consistent taste your loved ones crave for. Good for soups, stews, and jollof. Terra Gold. One cube, endless possibilities.
No buy am! But why? No see say this big bull bag of rice no get the new big bull holographic seal? Not true!
Introducing the Big Bull Holographic Seal Tape, your favorite authentic Big Bull rice, 50 kg and 25 kg. Now with holographic seal tape. This is to ensure you get the premium product from Big Bull Rice. Do not buy if the holographic seal tape is not on the bag or is broken. Big Bull Rice. Tasty rice nourished you.
Back. This is still Edo Decides, and we are still speaking on the Edo governorship election that took place yesterday and still cut across today as the results are still being collated. We have correspondents in the collation center and would, of course, they will be joining us along the line. But before they come in, I still have my guest with me in the studio, Dr. Dokun, and we're talking about the election that took place. Now let's just look at it on a general note. This is an election that the INEC had prepared for months, before now, and I think there was also like a test run of the whole equipment and all of that. But still, yet we got to hear of beavers malfunctioning. Some polling units said they didn't have ballot papers. Some ballot papers got missing, and all manner of loopholes, here and there. And I mean, election is something that has been on in Nigeria for a long time. Shouldn't we be getting better at conducting elections in Nigeria?
You just said it. We should be getting better. We should not be hearing about the same things we complain. I was telling your colleague yesterday, one of the things that pains me is that we keep saying the same thing, and all over. The materials will arrive late, excuses will come, they will not start on time, they will delay, they will postpone, they will walk into the night, and then we're still having the same thing. And this is just one state, an off-cycle. And if we have this in one state, and they told us before when we had off-cycle like that before the last general, like, oh, we get better with it, we get better with it. Are we showing any signs of getting better? I don't think so. Honestly, I'm at a loss as to what to say. The same things all over. Today is Sunday. election for one state with 80 local government was conducted yesterday, and we're still struggling with the result and with the collation and all the rest. Excuse me, that's not progress. For me, it's not. I think we should be better than this.
All right. So looking at the political parties and the candidates, as earlier we had actually spoken about this before now, but again, still looking at the candidates, there seems to be a role the political parties played, and of course a background, and then, why I'm making mention of this is looking at the Labour Party. But again, Labour Party hasn't really had, I would say this is the first time Labour Party is getting this far, probably because of the nature of the candidates they had from the Labour Party. But again, it looks like the party, had a lot to do with the performance as regards to probably, will I say, those states wasn't ready to have a new party come in. I really don't know how to frame this question, but I'm sure you get what I'm trying to say.
I do. But does Nigeria itself want a better government? I mean, we as Nigerians, what are our expectations of political parties and the people who govern us? We don't have. As long as immediate pecuniary satisfaction is given, then we're satisfied. And then we think that covers for 4 years. We have a long way to go, and that's what worries me about preparation for elections and for democracy and even for governance. When we say we are educating people on how to vote, what kind of education do we give our people? People that are so pauperized, they are so poor that even 2,000 will sway the way they feel. I mean, so what do you expect? And then I was listening this morning to some review. Openly, people were doing vote buying. And then yet the police and the security say, we don't know whether they are doing blah, 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 blah. There's no evidence that we're doing it.
But some people got arrested for that.
So what will happen? What will happen? Is this the first time they're talking about arresting people? During the election, the general elections last year, we had about arrest. What has happened? For as long as there's no punishment for misbehavior, it continues. And I can guarantee you, if I'm not wrong, by that night, yesterday, some of them might have been released. Somebody will call you, why you arrested, hey, this, that. And then it fizzles out. Even that itself is not served about prosecution. So all right. Okay. So we have a foreign observer who is joining us now. We have Comrade Dr. Bartholomew Okodo, FCS. He will be joining us, or he's already joining us to speak on the Edo election that took place. Good afternoon, sir. All right, so what are your observations as regards to the election that took place and also the collation today? All right, we will try to reconnect with Dr. Bartholomew, but so we're speaking on the election process and vote buying in Nigeria. Can vote buying ever come to an end? It sure can, if we're serious. I mean, if, for instance, the law says you come, you don't drive to the polling booth, and even let's say you drive to the polling booth wherever you are, when you cast your vote, you go home. So why should a car or cars be parked around and people are going to the cars before they come to vote and they say there's no vote back? Is that car, what's happening in that car that people should first of all visit it before they come to vote? So why are we deceiving ourselves? I thought yesterday one of the correspondents said the vote buying system has even gone sophisticated. So I asked myself, so what is the job of security agents? Are they supposed to be less sophisticated than the people that are criminals? It just shows the tomfoolery nature of the things we do, we take things for granted because Nigerians themselves don't know what we want. This one we pass, we'll be waiting for Undo.
Yes,
and
Undo is the
like
next.
that, it continues like that. And then we keep telling us the same story. Oh, we've gotten where we made mistakes and this way. Excuse me.
All right.
Sorry.
All right. I think we have Dr. Bartolome back with us now. All right. Good afternoon, sir. I'm sure you can hear me now.
Good afternoon. I can hear you loud and clearly. Good afternoon.
All right. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Thanks for having me too.
All right. So quickly, concerning the election that took place yesterday, as a foreign observer that was there, what were your observations as regards to the exercise, and were you satisfied with how the election went?
Well, my observations are very clear. One, there was low voter turnout across the state. Two, there was a monetary inducement. The rate of vote buying was high, very high. And three, late arrival of materials. INEC seemed not to be prepared for the election because there was late arrival of material. There were still cases of what appear like untrained staff were still deployed to the field. And then lastly, if you look at their collation method, moving collation away from the original venue to another venue calls for concern. It gives room for protests, as people are already protesting now. So generally, INEC did not fare well in this election. The result coming out now, according to some people and in my observation, it's not a true reflection of the wish of the people. Because the area where you have overvoting, the area where you have the total number of vote casted, largely outnumbered by the total number of registered voters. So the whole thing is not encouraging, it's discouraging. It's discouraging. And if care is not taken, it will have effect on the Ondo election and the 2027 general election. So INEC needs a lot of improvement, That is my observation.
Cases of thuggery, from what we heard, but how were the security men who were assigned to the various polling units, how were they able to carry their assignment? Were they able to secure the polling units and the election process?
They were not able. The security agents on their own part, they don't live up to expectation. Vote by took place in some police center, and the security agent looked the other way. When you see people voting and lining up to a particular direction, coming out from a particular direction to go and vote, and the security agent was supposed to investigate that. Though the FCC tried, they made 1 or 2 arrests, especially in Oredu, but then the performance of the security agent cannot be scored high. Cannot be scored high at all.
Exercise or process, the PDP agent had alleged that some of the results were manufactured votes. Some of the results that were brought in were manufactured votes. As someone who had observed or who was on ground to observe the election process, was there anything suspicious about the whole process?
A lot were suspicious, a lot. There were a lot of suspicion in some local governments, particularly in the do not axis. In the do not axis and part of those central, where people were not allowed to vote for their choice candidate. Rather, they were coerced to vote for a particular candidate by a particular person. That is not true democracy. In true democracy, people should be allowed to vote for candidates of their choice. And then what the party referred to as manufactured vote, where area where people did not turn out, and yet there was where people did not turn out at all, and yet they announced 20,000. In reality, the
All right,
people
I
did not
think
turn
we
out.
have
So where did they
little
get that result from? And that's what has been described as manufactured result.
Barrister Bartholomew Okudo, the president of Election Monitoring Team, Edo State. All right, do we still have you there, sir?
I'm with you.
All right, so quickly wrap up. All right, quickly wrap up what you were saying before the network went off.
Yeah, what I'm saying is that areas where people did not turn out, votes were allocated. Votes were allocated, which ought not to be so. The election largely witnessed low turnout of people in some areas, and yet we have high scores coming from those areas. Is unfortunate. It's unfortunate. It is not a true reflection of what actually, so the result they are announcing now is not a true reflection of what actually happened in the field. It's not a true reflection of what we saw. And coming to look at it, why should they postpone announcement of result of two local government? Already that is in Benin City. You have been able to announce the result of Akoko Edo. You have announced the result of Isako East, Isako Central. You have announced ESA, all the ESA local government. You cannot announce already the city center. What is happening? What is happening gives cause for concern. If you have announced far result like Akoko Edo, Isako West, you cannot announce already. This gives room for concern. It gives room for suspicion. So INEC needs to be alive to their responsibility so that they'll be able to restore the confidence of the people back to them. As it is now, the people have lost complete confidence in the ability of INEC to conduct any free and fair election.
Thank you so much, Barrister Bartholomew. Thank you so much for joining us at this time.
Thank you very much.
All right, that is Dr. Bartholomew Okudo, the President, Conference of Non-Governmental Organizations and Coordinator, Transition Monitoring Group, TMG, Edo State Chapter. All right, so back to the studio. We've heard the observer, election observer. So much has been observed, and one of the key issues he kept hitting on was on the low turnout of voters, and of course the fact that there were so many issues which we have already made mention even in the studio as regards to lateness to bringing in the materials, and so much ballot papers missing and all of that. But now looking at the low turnout and looking at the last general elections we had that had a whole lot of and by the way, we also got to find out that majority of the electorate are actually young people. But yesterday, most of them were nowhere to be found. They didn't come out. And now everyone is wondering what might have happened. I mean, this is an action that would actually, a decision that will determine, the future of the state, and still yet people don't come out for this exercise.
You see, the painful thing for me as a Nigerian is a lack of ability to interrogate things and then to come to conclusions that will help us to do the next steps. The general election, INEC told us that over 86 million people were registered. About 82 million voter cards were collected. The total number of people that voted was about 27 million. Did it bother anybody? It didn't. There was no interrogation of why should this happen. You see, one thing that we're beginning to forget is this. Skepticism is catching up with all of us, and nobody bothers anymore. When a state of numbnessness, it's like people are numbed to everything. So we're just giving up, we're just watching. That, look, I'm watching, it's like being in a stadium and watching a football match. That's what we're doing. Are we asking ourselves the right questions? Are we just satisfied that, we're having elections and that means democracy? Of course not, that's not democracy. The whole process of how you start, how you form your parties, and how eventually you vote, and the whole process is called democracy. It's not just the election. What we're watching here is a drama in which everybody is just doing whatever they like. How can we progress like this? You will find out that by the next election, people will not bother to come. Because if the gentleman reporting to us said there was low turnout, poor turnout of people, and figures are coming out, and then the people ask themselves next time, why should I bother myself when I don't vote, the figures will come. So those are the things that will cause some of the problem we're seeing.
All right. As regards to the suspicions, that have been going around, the commission had actually made mention of the fact that the attention has been drawn to an allegation of wrong figures entered into the polling unit, and they had actually said that the matter will be investigated.
Look, why announce figures that you are not sure about? It gives room to, when you then go to the courts, and then you begin to raise questions about the validity of the election and all the rest. Why allow it? If you knew there's a problem, you then say, we're investigating this until this happened. You don't give out the results and then expect that, later
investigation
you can bet that will not happen. Even if it happens, then we're giving room for litigation.
That's really all right. So let's quickly go on a break, and then when we come back, I still have Dr. Dokun with me, and we'll still have our correspondent who is in Benin City join us as well to give us updates on what is going on in Benin City right now. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is still Edu Decides 2024, and I still have Dr. Dokun with me in the studio. So still looking at the elections, we've had the PDP come up with, they had a press briefing a few hours ago, and there were allegations, that, of course, okay, I have Dr. Dokun laughing already. There were allegations that, there were some issues that need to be investigated. So they felt that the election process wasn't sincere, wasn't transparent, and some of their votes were suppressed, according to them. How do you react to this, Dr. Dokun? I can see you smiling already.
Same story. same story. And that's why I'm laughing, because we know where they will go. And the next thing you guys go to court. And then when you get to court, what happens in court? We're just transmitting one state of bazaar, political bazaar, where anything goes on in the market, into a judicial bazaar. Because the next thing that happens, all the lawyers are scampering around to take up the briefs, and then they go to a tribunal, and then it will take ages. And then before you know what is happening, it's back to status quo. The man will have been sworn in, and then governance is on, and then what then do you want to do? You want to send him out? A man that has been governor for a few months, unlike before. For as long as we kick off the charade of what we're doing, democracy, we're just deceiving ourselves. And that's why there's low voter turnout. People may say it rained. Oh, it rained during the general election. I mean, all kinds of things happened. People came out. You see, it is not about the element. The elements will always be the natural elements, there or rain or whatever. But their desire. My question would be to myself, why should I go and stand in the rain for what I know is a nullity? And then I said to myself, I'd rather be watching TV or playing games or doing something else. We are getting to a point in this country in which when the election comes, the whole population will be sitting at home, only 10 people. It's happening everywhere. Because of the state of delusionment. And why will people bother themselves? We know how this will end. If INEC is saying, oh, we know that something is wrong, but we will investigate it. But you are reading out the results. The results of something that you say is questionable. Why are you reading it out? Why are you counting it as part of the electoral process? And then what will happen when you now go to court?
All right. So let's quickly join our correspondent who is currently in Benin City. We have John Felix on standby. Hello, John.
Good evening, Nene, and good evening to everyone over there.
All right. Good afternoon. Can you bring us up to speed on what is currently going on in Benin City and, of course, the collation exercise that took place a few hours ago? Of course, we know that they are currently on recess, but just bring us up to speed on the observations so far as regards to the exercise.
Yes, at the State Collation Center, the exercise is on recess at the moment. The state returning officer had said we will reconvene at 5 p.m. tentatively. This is pending when the two local governments were expecting to come in. So far, 16 out of the 18 local governments have been read, and we're expecting results from Oredo local government and Ikpobaoka local government. Those are the two local governments remaining before the eventual winner will be announced as far as 2024 gubernatorial election in Benin is concerned. But we've seen issues being raised. We've also seen pockets of protest across parts of Benin City, that's the Edo State capital, particularly from members of the People's Democratic Party. They've been protesting over what they call marginalization, what they've called unfair treatment by the electoral umpire, amongst others. But let me take you down to the crux of the matter. The agent of the PDP had raised concerns that there's been alleged manipulations of results, and this is because, according to him, he said that the result uploaded on the IRF portal has not reflected the result that had been announced by the returning officers of this local government, some of the local governments that have been announced so far. Aside the PDP, the agents of the Accord Party, and of course, ZLP had also raised issues that results that were uploaded on the IRF portal had not reflected as far as the announcement were made at the collation center. So this borders on the question of integrity on the part of the exercise, and of course on the electoral umpire who had conducted this exercise. You recall that as fast as possible, these results were uploaded, and in less than 24 hours after the election, we had gotten about 95–98% of this result recorded. So, and of course, it brings down to the question of a political party who has his or situation room, who is monitoring the election, who has polling agents across the field, who knows what his or her agent has sent in, to their situation room, considering the fact that forms were being signed at the polling unit even before it got to the ward level, even before it got to the local government collation center and down to the state collation center. So it brings a question of who is saying what, who is saying the truth, because according to them, what was uploaded on IRF is not a reflection of what was announced at the collation center. Back to you, Nene.
All right, still speaking on the protest that took place by the PDP supporters, how was it being handled, and what's the update right now? Are they still protesting, or have they all dispersed?
Unfortunately, there's little or nothing that can be done as far as that protest is concerned. They're miles away from the coalition center. Armed security men are on ground to ensure there's no breakdown of law and order. As a matter of fact, just on a lighter note, no one would near the coalition center because these guys are armed to teeth, from the military guys. In fact, the military guys are taking charge squarely, and of course supported by some other security agencies. The police are also on ground. So the protest is distant, miles away from the coalition center, meaning that nothing of such will happen. There won't be any form of hijack. There won't be any form of destruction of properties as far as this exercise is ongoing. It will be concluded. There's no doubt about that. Of course, even where the protest is also ongoing, the security operatives are also there to ensure that there's no breakdown of law and order. The protest has been peaceful so far. Of course, it's a fundamental human right just for them to express their grievances as far as the election is concerned. But like I said, the election, if we had the two local government, I'm sure by now the winner would have been declared. Both parties are just waiting for the official announcement. And of course, as I was moving around also, I'd also spotted that the Election Petition Tribunal, the banner is out there already waiting for the petitions to start coming in for aggrieved, political parties and of course aggrieved political parties. So the stage is set. Once the announcement has been made officially, the tribunal takes the center stage to entertain grievances. But don't also forget that this also brings the quest or to the fore the issue of integrity of our electoral processes, whereby complaints, are raised. It's vital complaints. The absence of the beavers, the voting done electronically, amongst other things, wherein the electoral board had promised that all of this will be a thing of the past. But we have seen all of this come to the fore as far as this election is concerned. So these are issues that, of course, the aggrieved parties will take to the tribunal. But of course, like I said, this election will be done, will be announced, will be concluded, and the winner will emerge.
Thank you so much. Thank you, John Felix, all the way from Benin City. Thank you for the update.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so back to the studio, Dr. Dokun, a lot is going on. So, of course, as you've heard, protest broke out as regards to the results, which, of course, it's, would I say 80% already, close to coming to an end, and it's already clear that the APC would be, of course, if unless the two local governments we're waiting for has like extra other, but now looking at, there's it looks like it's now a culture, or it's now a norm that elections must always get back to the court, not get back, must always get to the court. So there's always, okay, I lose and then I'm going to court, or I try to maneuver my way into getting to win, and then I tell you we'll meet in court. Do you feel that, is this healthy for us as a country?
It's not healthy for us as a democracy, and it destroys the sanctity of the judicial system. Because we find that most of the time, the worst culprit or the person who suffers most in terms of integrity is the judiciary. Because all manners of things begin to interplay themselves, and you begin to wonder, where are we going? And somebody said it, some of the, should I say, contestants, they always say, that's why the impunity is there. And then they say, go to court. Because they know that nothing will change in the court. And so when that happens, look, it's just a pity that we don't learn. There's nothing that this gentleman, John, and the
Bartholomew.
The gentleman had said, what is his name?
Bartholomew. Yeah.
Bartholomew had said that is different from what we have been saying for 4 years. And so he makes a mockery of the process. Let me tell you where all this started from. Some parties alleged that the REC, the INEC commissioner or whatever, is related to someone. The simplest thing was just to say, for the purpose of this election, don't be involved. You bring somebody else. So you take away the element of doubt, and then you make the fairness obvious. But when you then say it doesn't matter, in Nigeria it doesn't matter, of course it does matter. Even if truly he stands with the result and he did well, there will still be insinuations that this was what happened. So we created a lacuna upon which somebody can build to say this is, and look at what has happened. You say IREF, the result will come to IREF, and then people were there, they collected the result that was signed. Only to go to the collation room to say they are different.
Different things.
How do you explain those things? And what, and the problem with the judiciary is this: by the time you get to court, they will tell you that you need to prove in every polling booth that there was something wrong.
When by then
by then the man would have been sworn in, it's already gone. Honestly, it makes me feel bad. And then he then gives the reason why nobody has confidence in the electoral system. And I'm still worried. If somebody is in charge of INEC like Professor Yakub, and these things continue to happen, and you don't feel it's a test of you, and then you don't have a reason to prove yourself, it tells me that nobody cares. Who is he accountable to? Who asks him the pertinent questions about this and that? That's the problem in this country. The level of accountability is poor. You don't account to anyone. The minister has nobody he accounts to. He stays there for 4 years. You can't see whatever he's done, and we continue. The next 4 years, another person comes, and then we say we have a democracy. It's what Fela called perambulator, all kinds of motion. But there's no movement. That's what we're seeing now. Look at how much money has been given to INEC. And look at this short election result process we are having. How can you balance it? And then you ask yourself, where exactly are we going? What do we want to make of this democracy? How do we want outside work? There will be international observers there.
Of course.
So when they write the report, you don't say they are biased, these white people and these foreigners, they don't like us. Excuse me. I think Bartholomew probably will be a Nigerian.
Yeah.
And he's saying these things. And so what do we do to those things? And this is not the first time people have said things like this. It has been like a broken record, repeated. And we're still saying the same thing.
All right, looking at the results, obviously the APC are heads up in all of this. And like I said earlier, the PDP is the ruling party as we speak. Could these results be a reflection of how displeased the Edo people are under the PDP? Or under the current governors?
It's not unlikely. But again, it plays into the playbook of APC. Because they now can say, they're displeased with you. But again, you see that it's a game of roulette. He was in APC, he fought, and then he went to PDP, stayed in PDP to prove a point, and then see what has happened. They may say people are not pleased with him. Maybe true, but why don't let that be reflected in the electoral process that we know? So that we're not beginning to say, is it true? Is it not true? Is this a manipulation? We leave room for all kinds of things. I don't live in Edo State, but listening to some of the people like Akpata the day he came on TV, and many people that have spoken about the roads in Edo and then the situation in Edo. Some of my friends live there, and then they say, so they probably will have a reason to say, hey, nothing was happening in Edo, true. But again, the will of the people must reflect that. It must not be about manipulation and all kinds of room. And so Obaseki himself will still be justified that he did his best, but something else outplayed and that. It's a pity that we leave a political space for this kind of speculation and for this kind of bitterness. But this is Nigeria. By the time they announce the result today, everybody will make noise a bit. They go to court. In another week, everybody.
We already have protests taking place. Yeah, we go
back to normal, and then we're waiting for Ondo. We say, we'll see what INEC will do in Ondo, and we repeat the same cycle. Maybe 2027. Look, I said it yesterday. If we're serious as in the country, the only president that has ever owned up that his election was flawed, terribly flawed, was Yaradua. And he did something about it. He set up a waste panel Olisa Gwakubanko and all of them were there. People of integrity, they brought out a report. Till today, we don't know the entirety of the report. It's been pig-handed to just sustain their own voodoo democracy without actually following the report. Probably if we had, maybe we'd be in a better place. But what has happened since then? Nothing. You pick a bit of it and then you throw it into here just to muddy the waters, and then you say you are doing something. Until we get serious. Maybe somebody will push us to get serious, and we push. How many of these reports get acted upon? Nothing. We just hear stories, semantics, all this, and also the same platitudes all over and all over. And then we move on. As a nation, we move on. And we say, okay, let's go on. And then another cycle is come upon us.
All right, let's focus a bit on the Labour Party candidate. Like I said earlier, I think this is the first election in Edo State where the Labour Party came this far. Yes, and I will use the words of my last guest. He called him a greenhorn. So of course we know that he was a NBA president, and when it comes to politics, he doesn't really have much background as compared to, you know, the other candidate. But we saw how far he had gone. But again, looking at the whole thing, because now some people feel that he probably would have gone further than where he got to. But the party factor, I'm still bringing us back to this, the party factor might have just been what, you know, limited. Because I mean, this election was a 3-horse. So it was supposed to be 2, but it became 3 because he was a force on his own. But don't we think that we should go beyond the level of party faction to now the person and what the person has to deliver to the people?
No, the system we run makes it almost impossible to get the best. Nigeria always presents its 4th 11 for anything we want to do. So the same in the political space. The kind of political system we run, which is on the money, the man who puts down the money, the man who dictates the tune, of course that's the way it will be. If we say greenhorn, what is the meaning of greenhorn? One thing I've said to many is, if we do not divorce ourselves from the politicians and get people who are not politicians but who are good, who can, I'd rather they make mistakes. And then we can start a new plate and then a new template, and then we know the paradigm has shifted and then we're moving a different route. But if we continue to roll with these people, there cannot be any change. There's no way we can effect any change with this same set of people. It is not possible. Go and check if there is a register of people in PDP, people in APC. You will see them cross-linking. Because you will see somebody who was in APC
has moved.
Avat, what is the political philosophy behind these parties? As long as there is amorphous, we'll be getting what we're getting. What does PDP stand for? What does APC stand for? Nothing. And so because there's nothing, so you know, do you see, like in the UK, somebody who just wake up and say, I'm Labour today, now I'm becoming conservative? Of course not. Because there are principles upon which they are built. The same in America, they say, that's why today some people say Trumplicans, those following Trump. Because that is not called conservatism in America. It has been hijacked. And so some people are saying, no, we'll take it back. That's the way you're supposed to be. So somebody like Akpata, for me, it's not because they knew he's a greenhorn, but he doesn't have the monetary clout.
Okay.
He doesn't have the financial base to dislodge the pugilists. The people who have been entrenched in this thing, they know the power of their politics because they stand for nothing. For as long as they stand for nothing but money speaks, and then, I mean, I watched some of these people speak. Some of the candidates couldn't speak English, yet they want to be governors. And then you ask yourself, excuse me, based on what? Based on what people say is not English. I know it's not English, but how can you be connecting with people when you cannot express yourself? What manner or mood of connectivity do you have? Those are basic things we never ask ourselves. We just come there, we make noise, the same thing. I'll give you road. I will build schools. Excuse me, is that what we should be talking about in 2024? And then the roads are still in the same wretched state they were years ago. The roads built by Awolowo were still running on them. And Awolowo died now in 1987. I mean, what do people know about legacy, for crying out loud? After this drama, and when they are no more, what will people say about them? Do people care about what comes after? Of course not. Because we only live for today, the politicians live for today, the Nigerian electorate lives for today. That's why they can take 5,000 to vote. 5,000 will take care of that day. But what about the next 4 years? We need to sit down as a people and begin to reconsider the game we play with our lives.
Yeah.
Because we are putting our lives in the hands of these people who have no care.
All right, Dr. Dokun Adedeji, thank you so much for your time. Time ran so fast, but it has indeed been a very interesting conversation. And we hope and we trust, of course, that INEC would definitely get better. I mean, our hopes has to continually be alive. We'll definitely get it right. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And thank you so much to our viewers as well for sticking with us on Edo Decide today. My name is Nenwarangi Mazaka. Thank you so much. As for now, goodbye.
Of a media house to cover your events? Would you like your events to be